Hi there people, welcome to this video. Today I'll be talking about the Zaku Desert Type DA. And I'm just going to show a few colors that I have for it because I'm very proud of these. They look very nice. I change depending on the map. But let's talk about the good stuff. The Zaku Desert Type DA is a 300 support. And I really like it. It's more of a frontline support, and I think you can get it by the first level, so you don't have to level up too much to get the suit on the DP store, though I have no idea how much it costs. It has pretty good ballistic defense, very bad beam resistance, decent melee resistance for a support at this cost, and pretty high ranged strength. The primary weapon is very good and I like it a lot. It's the Zaku machine gun long barrel. It fires in bursts of 3 shots and it has pretty good range. The blow is the standard melee. The leg missile pod fires heavy staggering missiles. Heavy stagger at 300 cost. It's amazing. Though the range is a bit low and you have quite the cooldown time. The chaff grenade, which in my opinion is actually a bit better because it has some utility, though it doesn't have the same damage as a standard grenade. And the arm missile pod is also very good. If you've ever used the Dom cannon, any one of the 2 variants, you'll be familiar with this missile, and it's pretty good. So here are my bindings, and for skills it has the usual support skills. It has frontline support system, which is very good, and anti-stealth and anti-jamming, which is also very good, and optimized cooling efficiency for a bit less thruster consumption, which is very good. The frontline support system reduces the time your allies take to redeploy, so it's very useful, but only when you are on the field. The primary, as you can see, if all the bullets connect on a burst, you get a stun, and this is great. It's great for combating maneuver armor, and the ASL helps a lot when you're aiming with this. So it's a very, very good primary weapon. I like it a lot. So the missile pod is, as you can see, it deals heavy stagger, and this in some cases allow you to melee, and this is one of the few moments I'll show the melee, because it's very hard to connect melee with most of the supports I use. The grenade has this chaff effect that will jam the enemy's radar, so it's pretty good for if you have stealth teammates and you want to help them attack a target, or for stalemates in general. Grenades are very good in that situation. The arm missiles can stagger on their own, but it requires 5 of the 6 missiles, so it's not really a feasible option. The primary weapon is much better for that, but it works very well as a follow-up for both your machine gun stagger and your missile stagger. So as you can see, you can fire the missile, and then you switch to the arm missiles, and then sometimes you can actually follow up, though it's not guaranteed. You can use your primary to follow up. It has some combo potential. It's not great at that. The thing with the machine gun is if you're aiming it with the aim you get, it has quite a bit of recoil. You can also kneel to increase the power of your shots. this is not useful all the time, but I mean, extra damage is extra damage. So if you're in a situation where you can kneel to get an extra damage, it's always good. The only thing I would advise against is using it, the side missile that deals heavy stagger when you're kneeling, and that's because as it comes from a reasonably low point in your suit, it can actually be quite troublesome and hit terrain. And if it hits terrain near you, you will be heavy staggered, and that's not very good. That being said, it has a very nice kit, though I have to say that it's not really a synergistic support, so to speak, with itself. It has a lot of tools, and you have to use them when they are appropriate, so to speak. But it's an excellent support in my opinion, and it can definitely go against the Guy meta suits of the 300 cost. So let's go to a match so I can explain it a bit further. I think it's reasonably okay support to start using. Maybe there are some others that are a bit better to teach you the basics of the supports, but I think this is a very comfortable unit to use, and I like it a lot. So I start by capturing the beacon because as a support in this map, I'm likely to die very quickly, so it's I'll just capture the beacon. Luckily, I'm not dead, which is amazing and very surprising. I go up and I try to kill the pilot of the suit that has been abandoned, and maybe I focused it a bit too much because I think my ally destroyed it. I keep moving and you can see the stagger from the main weapon. It's very good. The projectile speed is pretty good, and it's overall a great weapon, definitely one of my favorites. So I start to fight the guy, and it's the general type, so remember I talked about the great ballistic defense? Yeah, that's probably a lot of help right now. As you can see, I get to cover and I try using the grenades, but I'm awful at it, and I was missing a lot of shots before too, so sometimes mistakes happen, and you can see how the ASL helped with aiming in that last final shot. The ASL is amazing, and I really mean it. If you are used to using like normal weapons, you can feel the difference when it comes to the ASL. If you've ever used the Super Gundam, for example, it has ASL on the missiles, and it's just amazing to use it to shoot. So as you can see, I used the primary to stop the raid, and then I went to use the heavy stagger, but unfortunately started to boost, so I only got a normal stagger. That being said, it's a very good weapon. So I used the grenade against the enemy pilot. Grenades are very good against pilots, and this, especially this splitting Xeon grenade, I like it a lot to use against pilots. Against enemies that have been toppled, you can use the arm missiles, and they are very good to put out some damage, some total damage in a reasonably short amount of time. So you can like sometimes almost deal 500 per missile, so it's a full 3,000 damage at to the enemy, and at this cost it's not a bad damage. The primary can actually output a more consistent, so to speak, damage because it fires very quickly. So generally you'll be switching between these weapons and using the one that is the best for the situation. It's not a suit that has a lot of range, though the primary actually has a very significant amount of range. 400 meters is very good. I would say like the general range of general types is around 300 to 350 meters, and this is quite consistent around the game. So 400 meters is a range I consider to be good for a support. And but it's mostly a frontline frontline support kind of support. So there's a big difference between a frontliner and a frontline support unit. So keep that in mind. And it's finally time to die. So it's a very good suit. I like it a lot. And you can use it if you use your teammates, not really as shields, but if you stay behind them and let them take the aggro, so to speak, if you're used to RPG games, you can help a lot. The primary can stagger quite consistently, and you have those heavy stagger missiles, which are great at short ranges. So you can use that to give space to your allies to do their thing. And that's where I think this unit shines the most. It's supports in general are very team-oriented, so to speak. And this is a very interesting unit for that. So you can see, for example, I use the heavy stagger missile to hit the enemy, and because of that my ally can safely go up and attack the enemy, though it took a bit of time. But that means that, for example, if you hit the enemy with that, they would if it's a general, they would usually roll away, and that means your ally that is going there can attack the enemy with the melee, and they don't need to fear a counter. Overall, this is a very good... if you haven't used the suit, I highly recommend it. It's very fun to use. You can see I stopped the raid again. And it's to me, it's a very comfy suit to use. You have a lot of tools to keep you safe. And if you have good positioning, you can keep the enemies at bay. I used a few minutes ago the grenades when we had a stalemate, and when you have enemies that are in a good or decent shooting position with enemies that are also in that good shooting position and they don't want to advance, that's a good moment to use the grenades. They can usually go through some barriers and some cover, and they have a decent range to them, to the explosion. So that's basically it. It's stay together with your allies and help them with staggers, and try to deal a bit of damage with your weapons and your combos. So I hope you liked it and learned a bit about the suit. It's a suit I like very much to use at 300. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.